How effective are the Premier League parachute payments? Are you tired of seeing the same old teams relegated from the Premier League, only to be promoted again the next season? If you're from Norfolk, please disregard that question. If you're not, then we may have some ideas on why these teams keep bouncing back. Parachute payments are sums of money teams relegated from the Premier League receive in the 3 seasons following their demotion to the EFL. The Premier League says that parachute payments allow clubs to invest in their teams and wider operations in the knowledge that should they be relegated they have provisions in place to readjust their finances. In the 3 years following relegation, teams will receive 55%, 45% and 20% of the amount each Premier League club received in broadcast revenue if they aren't promoted again in that time, in which case these payments will cease. However, because the Premier League's TV rights deal spiked from the 2016-17 season onwards, parachute payments are worth a lot more now than when they were first devised in 2006. To try and level the playing field, the remaining EFL clubs who don't receive parachute payments instead receive solidarity payments, but these have been criticized for not being as beneficial. However, just because teams receive this extra cash doesn't mean that they will use it wisely. They have a slightly better chance, sure, but you still need to build a team correctly in order to make your way back to the Premier League. Let's look at the teams who have been relegated since this lucrative TV deal kicked in and how they've fared using parachute payments. Hull City 2017-18 finished 18th in CHAMPION SHIP 2018-19 finished 13th in CHAMPION SHIP 2019-20 finished 24th in Championship, relegated to League One. Summary: Hull were a lower standard Championship side following relegation and were then relegated again in the final year of their payments. Take notes here on how not to construct your team. Middlesbrough 2017-18 finished 5th in Championship, beaten in playoff semi-finals 2018-19, finished 7th in CHAMPION SHIP 2019-20, finished 17th in Championship. Summary: progressively got worse as parachute payments dwindled, culminating in lowest second-tier finish since 1990. Not great. SUNDERLAND 2017-18, 24th in Championship, relegated to Ligue 1 2018-19, 5th in Ligue 1 2019-20, 8th in League One. Summary: Sunderland were relegated to the third tier for just the second time in their history when they received their first parachute payment. In their third season after relegation from the Premier League, they recorded their worst ever league finish. You tell me if they worked. Swansea City 2018-19, 10th in CHAMPION SHIP 2019-20, 6th in Championship, beaten in playoff semi-finals 2020-21, 4th in Championship, beaten in playoff final. Summary: Swansea managed to earn respectable finishes in the years following their relegation, but notably suffered in the 2021-22 season once they stopped receiving parachute payments, falling to 15th in the Championship. Stoke City 2018-19, 16th in CHAMPION SHIP 2019-20, 15th in CHAMPION SHIP 2020-21, 14th in Championship. Summary: Stoke established themselves as a solid Premier League side for nearly a decade but have desperately struggled in the Championship despite some heavy spending. A prime example of poor team building. West Bromwich Albion 2018-19, 4th in Championship, beaten in playoff semi-finals 2019-20, 2nd in Championship, promoted to Premier League 2020-21, 19th in Premier League, relegated to Championship, did not receive payments. Summary: West Brom spent wisely to remain competitive but were unable to build a squad capable of surviving in the top flight again. City 2019-20, 5th in Championship, beaten in playoff semi-finals 2020-21, 8th in CHAMPION SHIP 2021-22, 18th in Championship. Summary: a steady slide down the table for Cardiff, who have returned to their status of a team who sometimes challenges for a playoff place, but not too consistently. Fulham 2019-20, 4th in Championship, promoted to Premier League via Play-O FFS 2020-21, 18th in Premier League, relegated to Championship, Did not receive payments 2021-22, first in Championship, promoted to Premier League. Summary: Fulham are the perfect example of parachute payments working for those who receive them. They've been promoted 3 times in the last 5 years and for the most part have managed to keep key players after being relegated. Alexander Mitrovic literally scored 43 goals in the 2021-22 Championship season. Huddersfield TOWN 2019-20, 18th in CHAMPIONSHIP 2020-21, 20th in CHAMPIONSHIP 2021-22, 3rd in Championship, beaten in playoff final. Summary: After some really rough seasons back in the Championship, Huddersfield finally have a sense of direction again, though they're not exactly spending their way out of trouble. 12 of their 13 permanent incomings for the 2021-22 season were on free transfers. Bournemouth 2020-21, 6th in Championship, beaten in playoff semi-finals 2021-22, 2nd in Championship, promoted to Premier League. Summary: Like Fulham, Bournemouth were able to keep hold of several stars who are clearly of Premier League talent and have now achieved promotion back to the top flight. Another example of parachute payments working for those in need. Watford 2020-21, 2nd in Championship, promoted to Premier League 2021-22, 19th in Premier League, relegated to Championship. Summary: Now we're starting to notice a pattern. Watford and Bournemouth were established Premier League sides who kept their cores together thanks to the help of parachute payments. Norwich City 2020-21, 1st in Championship, promoted to Premier League 2021-22, 20th in Premier League, relegated to Championship. Summary: But Fulham, Watford, and Norwich have all been guilty of thinking the sides who helped them achieve promotion are fit to survive relegation. We'll touch on this more a bit later. When the new TV deal came into place, teams relegated from the Premier League and inundated with unprecedented levels of parachute payments seemingly didn't know what to do with the money. Hull, Middlesbrough, Sunderland, Swansea, and Stoke made sweeping changes to their squads but couldn't find the right formula to achieve promotion, with 2 of these sides suffering another relegation. In those first 2 seasons, West Brom were the outlier and eventually achieved promotion. All 6 teams relegated from the Premier League in 2018-19 and 2019-20 have managed to at least reach the playoffs once, with 4 achieving promotion. However, none of them have been able to survive for 1 year back in the top flight. Good luck for 2022-23, Bournemouth. What we can take away is that these relegated teams are becoming wiser on how to use their bigger budgets to get out of the Championship. In that sense, yes, parachute payments are working for those impacted. But there are also too many other key factors to determine whether they're a clear success. The pandemic hit a lot of clubs hard financially, and playing behind closed doors felt like more of an anomaly. If the current trend continues, teams will eventually figure out how to survive back in the Premier League once they stop receiving parachute payments. But, we'd like to see that to believe it first.